In this video, we were looking at Docker made simple course. I am Vipin Gupta. Here we will be discussing why we need to focus on Docker, then why we have created this course, and what are the content that we are going to teach in this Docker made simple course. And of course, we will be discussing what this elephant, mouse, these rabbit, tortoise, hard disk and floppy disk they are doing in our slide. So why to focus on Docker? Docker is the new buzzword in industry. Everyone is now talking about Docker. Docker makes it very easy to create, deploy and run applications using containers. Containers are very small in size, very fast, and their resource usage is bare minimum. Companies are very rapidly adopting Docker. In earlier days, people used to work on physical machine. They used to have the physical machine. Then what came? Then came the VMs, virtual machines. But now the trend is shifting towards the containers. Now it is containers everywhere. Now Docker is also an essential component of automation, CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and DevOps. Then why we this course on Docker? When we start working on Docker long way back, there was certain topics that were very difficult to understand. Although the Docker itself is extremely easy to use, but for understanding some of the advanced topics, we took lot of time. We do not want this to happen to the new entrant into this field, so that is why we created this course. This course will start from the basics of the Docker and slowly will take you to the advanced levels of Docker in crystal clear manner. Various customized diagram and examples has been created to make the contents of the course easy to understand. I will say very easy to understand. Then whenever we are talking about Docker, we need to understand what is virtualization, what is hypervisor, and then you are able to properly understand what is Docker. When we are talking about virtualization or hypervisor, we are going to get the VMs. In the case of virtualization, hardware is there. On that, we are going to install the host operating system, which could be Windows or Linux. Then virtualization software like VirtualBox or VMware Workstation. And what we are going to get? We are going to get VMs. It could be of Windows type. It could be of Linux type. Same way hypervisor again. But one advantage of hypervisor is you do not need host operating system. So on hardware directly you are going to install the hypervisor. Hypervisor could be your Xen server or VMware ESXi product. And on that what we are going to get? Again we are going to get the VMs. It could be of Linux type. It could be of Windows type. Then comes the Docker. Again on hardware, host operating system. Preferably it should be Linux. And on that we are going to install the Docker. And in Docker we are not going to get the virtual machine. What we are going to get? Containers C1, C2, C3. This is that means this Docker will give us the containers, virtualization and hypervisor will give us the VM. Now what is the main difference between VMs and container without going into the much technical details, which will we be covering in later lectures. So if we have to distinguish between VM and containers, I have taken these photos. Now the resource needed by VM are very large. So we are representing it by the elephant. It requires elephant type of resources. On the other hand, container, very little resources like mouse. Then what about the speed? VM creation speed is very slow. That is why tortoise. Then container speed creation very fast like rabbit. Then the storage requirement. Very less in the case of container, almost negligible. In the case of VM, it is very large. So if I have to describe the Dockers in one word, I always say it is magic, just magic. So we have to enter into this field. Everybody should have the knowledge of Docker. So what we will be covering in this course, lot of content. First section will be Docker pre-installation task. Purposefully we have kept this in this, which what we are going to do, we will be seeing how to install CentOS or Ubuntu, because sometimes the participant may not be comfortable with installing Ubuntu or CentOS, because for installation of Docker we need this. So we have created the video for how to install CentOS properly, how to install Ubuntu also. If you already know how to install the Linux, then you can skip this section. Straightway you can move to Docker installation. Now there are many ways of Docker installation. So we have covered most of those methods. In this we will be covering 3 methods of installing Docker on CentOS and 2 methods on installing on Ubuntu. But on later videos we will be using that CentOS type of thing. So then, getting starting with Docker, we will see what is Docker, then how to pull the images from the Docker hub, how to create your first container, how to stop the container, how to remove the container, how to remove the images, then how to create or build the Docker images. There are many ways, by pulling, by using commit, or by using Dockerfile. We will be looking at all these methods. Then we will, web servers are very important. So here we will be looking at Nginx and Apache web server images in very great detail. Then by default the containers storage is ephemeral, but we need, for production system we need persistent storage. So again we will be covering bind, mounts, volumes in greater detail. Then databases are again very important, so we will see how to work with database. We will be discussing MariaDB. Then this is one of the most difficult topic, Docker networking. Again we are covering Docker networking in greater detail. We will be discussing what is host type, what is bridge type, what is container network mode type of networking, what is non-networking, what are user defined networks. We will be discussing all in under this heading. Then understanding Docker file is very necessary if you want to go deeper into the Docker. So here we will be seeing how to use the Docker file, how to create different images by using Docker file, and we will be covering the multi-build also. Then we will see how to deploy multi-container applications using Docker Compose. Then we will be implementing one 3-node cluster. Then we will see how to deploy application on how to use that Docker Swarm cluster. Then in the bonus section we will be covering Docker private registry. So the purpose of this course is from basics, fundamental to advanced topic, we are covering all in very easy manner.